Hey guys, mystery boxes are fun, but sometimes the mystery part goes a little too far. Some kind of pop and some random t-shirt, but who knows what else. Heck, is the rest of the stuff even worth it? If you want a box that caters more to your liking, try Zanini Box. Pins, trading cards, that's it. No cheap add-ons or fillers, just pins and cards that are movie, video game, and comic book themed. With 7 choices of subscriptions, you can customize your experience with a little less mystery and a lot more of what you're paying for. Visit zaninibox.com to customize your subscription now, and you can enter the code CBU20 to take an extra 20% off your entire order and let them know that Professor Bill sent you.
Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and I brought a Chillmonger.
Hi everybody.
Another Simpsons reference?
Yes.
Nice.
Shake harder, boy.
Oh, shaking. That's a paddling. We should just do that for this whole episode.
The Simpsons references? Okay,
right?
We'll slip them in. All episode.
Oh, man.
And they'll all be from like the first 10 seasons and not the others.
Oh, what? The other ones weren't good? I only watched like the first 5 seasons. I don't even think I watched every one of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like no one that I know religiously watched The Simpsons. If it was on, it's on Fox. That's just, all right, I'm not doing anything for 30 minutes.
Now it's on Disney streaming. I'll figure. I showed my kids the Maggie Simpsons thing, the little like cradle thing in the daycare.
Oh, okay. Do you remember who Maggie shot Mr. Smithers? Remember that?
Oh,
Mr. Burns.
Wasn't that the end? Yeah, Mr. Burns. Wasn't that the end of season 1?
Oh, yeah, it was the end of a season, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Big
the end of season 1. Yeah, exactly. To the next one. It's like, yeah, that was pretty good. Who shot Mr. Burns? And he landed on the north and west and upside down Maggie Simpson. Like, spoilers for 20 some odd years ago. Jesus. But I know somebody's going to be like, great, you're right. There's always somebody.
And that's what we're going to argue later on. It's always somebody.
It's always somebody.
It's the John Byrne rule for The Simpsons.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear what your commentary on that is, man.
I just disagree. That's it. And then, but this is a news podcast, and we will begin with Shang-Chi, because I believe that through some social media work that the cast has returned to Australia. They are shooting again. Australia really never had it bad, but they are back in the country filming Shang-Chi. The movie is expected to come out in May of 2021, and we are right on track. I'm happy about that.
Nice. Yeah, that's big news. That's awesome. I'm waiting for some trailers from some of this stuff coming out. I was just thinking though, not too long ago, I'd actually be okay. I was just talking about this on my on the live stream that I do on my channel every Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's your chance to have an actual interactive conversation with me, where and sometimes it gets after dark, but I was saying like I wouldn't be upset if they didn't put out a trailer anytime soon for Shang-Chi, because I know it's going to be a banging kick-ass movie. I know it's going to be amazing. I grew up on freaking Kung Fu theater, you know what I'm saying? And if they didn't put those trailers out, cool, less people in the movie theater, more space for me to stretch. Because most of us are going to be like, wah, 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 and moving our hands and whatnot as we're watching this movie. Let's be realistic. So there should be some safe zones.
Even the podcast listeners understood what you meant when you said "woo ha ha ha."
Exactly.
That's universal. They see your body moving, chopping the midair.
Oh yeah. At one point, I actually did a flip in my chair. Did you catch that?
I caught it. It was so lightning quick, but I have the Sharingan eyes. Yeah.
Sharingan, what's that?
It's from Naruto.
Oh, figures. Okay, my bad.
So Marvel's live stream during Comic-Con.
Okay, so of course.
Was it Daredevil? Was it?
Yes, well, kind of. It was a Daredevil live stream. It was supposed to be about the Marvel character, whatever, from the TV show. So there's this one channel that actually has a little bit of good content, Save Daredevil, because they want the TV series to come back. Well, that could happen next year. Vincent D'Onofrio just put something out today, Saturday, on Twitter, where he just says, the thing about this character is, I always thought this was my character. And he just does it so well. And that's really all he says. And he's just really close, so you can't see that he's got a full set of hair again. But I'm just like, it really is your character, bro. It really is. And I would love to see him come back as Kingpin. I want to see Charlie Cox come back. Whoever played Turk Barrett, I want him coming back. I want all of it, man. I want all of it. Except Danny Rand. F that guy. We need to recast his ass. But like real talk, man, everybody else, Mike Coulter, I want to see all of them coming back. But this stream didn't have any of those people. It had Jeffrey Cantor, who played Ellison. You remember the main reporter guy?
Mm-hmm.
He was Ben Urich's boss in the first one. The first season, I should say. Tommy Walker was in there. Everybody knows who Tommy Walker played. Francis. You remember Francis?
Yeah.
Nobody remembers Francis. He was there in the last 4 freaking episodes. He's the guy who was supposed to replace Wesley, and I think he was killed. I think Kingpin wound up killing him or something like that. He was the blonde guy with the whoosh thing. And anyway, and also Peter Shinkoda was there. He's the guy who played Nobu. That was the guy I was most interested in. And that was the guy who provided the most entertainment. This live stream didn't go for more than like 5 minutes before a question was asked that caused this dude to start talking about how, because they said, what do you think was like the backstory for Nobu? Because he mostly just, stood in the shadows and came out of nowhere. And he was very threatening and intimidating, but like he almost never talked at all. And even in the second season, like he just, because he came back, and it's like, ooh, what's going on? Here's some messed up stuff. We're Me Tooing everybody and calling people out for bad conduct. Jeff Loeb, he told writers that no one cares about Asian people. He referenced back to the Blade movies, which I'm going to reference back to the Blade movies in a little while too, where Blade killed like 200 Asians and no one cared. So he told the writers, so don't write for Nobu or Madame Gao. And many of the writers' room people have collaborated this apparently, which the guys in the cast, they understood. The guys who were there, they were like, yeah, we know it. We knew about this afterwards. We learned about this afterwards. That's freaking crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing to add to that?
Well, you know how the black guy dies first in horror movies?
Yes.
It's similar. It's like we're going to start with a death that no one cares about, since the black guys are less valuable because black lives don't matter according to some people.
Yeah.
And then as the movie progresses, we'll get more significant with the deaths, but you got to start somewhere. You needed a death, and so you went with the most. So the same
the most
logic
expendable.
applies.
You're looking for the word expendable. Yeah.
There it is. So it's not a shocker that Jeff Loeb believes this.
That's really messed up. Like when you put it that way, that's even more damning. Other people have been supportive, and they discuss that, likewise, Iron Fist could have been better, but he just didn't care about the Jeff Loeb just didn't care about the Asian experience or the culture or anything like that. This isn't like it should have been an Asian actor. No, it should not have been an Asian actor. It should have been a white person, blonde haired, who played the character. But I do believe that, there should have had more of the culture and everything in there, because that's just wrong. Peter Shinkoda, the guy who played Nobu, he didn't even get invited to the season 2 premiere, which is telling and damning. But he came up with this great backstory. He himself came up with this great backstory, and a bunch of other writers started elaborating more on it. They all started talking about Nobu, how he had to, him getting a passport to get over to the United States was impossible. So he had to actually get prosthetics done to his face and whatnot in order to be able to get over here. And, just all sorts of different things. There was an actual backstory for how he was able to smuggle himself into America. And it's like, wow, that would actually build a story and make this guy look like he's even more dangerous, instead of just the guy who slunk in and out of the shadows and didn't talk because he couldn't speak English, because Jeff Loeb couldn't care less. That's messed up.
Yeah.
It's messed up. And after that, this was like an hour of them talking. And for the most part, Vincent D'Onofrio's stories were he was apparently a big prankster. He would mess around with people a lot. And feel free to go and check out Save Daredevil. I think that it's actually called, hashtag Save Daredevil. Look that up and you should come to that website. The only other thing that I saw that was pretty cool on there was, because they did have one with Karen Woll, the one who played, or whatever Woll, the girl who played Karen, I know her name. She's from the comics and everything. Well, I'm just blanking right now because I'm just throwing that in there. Anyway, Karen Page, who played Karen Page, she's in there. And then somebody else. Oh, and also Jeffrey Cantor again, the guy who plays Ellison. He's the most boring person on the face of the planet. Like the most boring person. Him being in that freaking live stream just killed it for me. Because he kept on talking about himself and all this other stuff. And he was interrupting everybody. Even when Nobu was trying to tell his story, he's sitting there interrupting, trying to tell him his experience. And it's like, dude, shut up. Nobody cares. He was talking about casting his beard and things. Like, oh my God. Like, this is a genuinely frustratingly annoying person who really doesn't understand, dude, you are C tier on a good day. Nobody cares. Nobody. So Nobu was the main dude on that one. And that's just the facts. Yeah, that's the really cool thing I saw on that channel though was they have Chip Zdarsky interviewing Ann Nesenti, which was actually a really good interview, and I really enjoyed that.
The Eisner Award winner, or nominated, whatever it is.
Nominated. They haven't done the. I don't think they announced the Eisners yet. I'd be reporting on that if we did. But yeah, that was a thing.
Avengers video game is a thing.
Yes, it is. And I think I'm going to be getting this video game now. Because there's a lot there. And yes, I have a PS4. Like, why is it so special? Is it only coming out on PS4?
No, both.
Oh, it's coming on Xbox also.
Yeah.
You said... Go ahead.
Spider-Man, that's a Sony game. They actually bought Insomniac, the publishers or the developers of the game.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You said before when you were saying, like, what are some of the things we're going to be talking about? I said the Avengers game. I was thinking about buying it. And you said, I hope you have a PS4. Was there anything for that? Or oh, okay.
I'm just wondering if you had a system. You could have had an Xbox One.
Okay. Oh,
but whatever game you'll be playing Kamala Khan, and she'll be embiggening.
She'll be embiggening.
Mrs. Krabappel says.
We had to bring another Simpsons in. Nice one. Nice. You just snuck that one right in there. But the Avengers game looks like it's going to be awesome, and they keep on giving out more free stuff that they're going to be throwing in here. Case in point, the Marvel Avengers game, Hawkeye, will be a free post-launch character with his own set of missions.
Nice.
Holy crap. Holy crap. Like, so all of them will have their own thing. I think that's perfect because, like, if it's just, to me, it's like if it's just a game and you have to get through stuff, why wouldn't you just play Iron Man or Thor throughout the entire thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you bother having Captain America running through stuff when you just fly through this stuff?
I'm not sure you get a choice. Some missions are definitely Captain America missions.
Yeah.
He might actually die in the beginning of the game.
That'd be messed up.
I think that's what they showed in the trailer. Yeah.
That's messed up. I just bought the toy. That's fast. The Gamerverse toy. But anyway,
don't believe in the hype of the Gamerverse. That's nothing to do with anything.
Right. But nonetheless, no, I love the idea that they're going to have their own individual missions and things like that and stuff that, like, that's cool. That's cool. I'm digging on that. Because otherwise it's just, you can't just have a universal, thing. Too many times, like fighting games. I don't really like fighting games too much where it's like, they have the DC superheroes versus the Mortal Kombat ones. I had that game. My daughters loved playing that. And they had a fairly good excuse for why that happened. These guys were more powerful. These guys weren't, but some of them were. Like the Joker was more powerful, but Superman was less powerful. So was Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Like it was all really just weird. But it was a fun game, but it just didn't make sense, their power levels.
Was that the answer to Marvel versus Capcom?
Yes, actually it was. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Marvel versus Capcom stuff either. I'm sorry. Shuma Gorath going up against Ryu. I mean, that can't possibly be a thing, is it? But yet somehow it is. So yeah, no, I'm not buying it. But there's actually more, and I want to just start ripping into some goofy individuals in this regard. This is actually, I think I might as well do my rant on Screen Rant with this also. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna bump this up a little bit because I want to
Ladies
just,
and gentlemen, a rant on Screen Rant.
yes, I want it. Nice one. I like that. Oh man, that was like a sexy voice. I'm gonna say I was a little bit turned on, but I had a little bit more blood flow with that. That was actually pretty good, man. I imagine that people are just like swooning right now.
Yeah, you're like stupid, sexy Chillmonger.
Right? Or you're gonna wind up narrating stuff like Morgan Freeman. That'd be cool. You got that narrator's
No,
voice.
it's nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Is that also Simpsons?
Yes.
Nice. So, you know what? I'm gonna have to get you a voice acting role, just a really quick, like a walk on, but a voice on, I guess. Whatever. We're gonna get into Screen Rant in a moment, but I just want to talk about in general stupid comic book sites. I don't even know who. Usually, I can figure out who did it first. I like to look and see who's the idiot who reported on this first.
Mhm.
But everybody started reporting on this stupidity. I actually tweeted about it. I usually only tweet about, non-stupid things. In this particular case, I wound up having to report on something really, really, really freaking stupid. And that is, they were reporting that Haley Steinfeld is going to be has been cast as Kate Bishop.
Right.
Then they reported that actually she hasn't. But rumors are that she's going to be. But then again, we can't really confirm those rumors. In which case, why are you talking / typing / freaking breathing? Like, there's a level of ineptitude that borderlines on idiotic incompetence. The levels of stupidity here are so high. It's like, there's toxic masculinity that people talk about, stuff like this. This is like toxic comic book writing. Why are you even employed? Why are you even employed doing something like this when you're clearly inept? When you're an idiot, you don't deserve the freaking air that the rest of us breathe. You are stupid. Stop. Oh my God. This was an article that was not an article about a topic that was not a topic. I can't even, usually I can find a nice analogy or perhaps a metaphor to make a joke on. I always like doing that. I'd like to make, have a little something to compare a story to. I will liken it to I cannot, this is so baffling to me. I cannot even muster an example of this level of stupidity. Typing for the sake of typing. Clickbaity stuff. Literally the epitome of clickbaiting.
Mm-hmm.
Guess Haley has been cast. And then we go on there to see, oh, really? Let's see some details about it. Actually not. But there's a chance, but the rumor is that she has, but we can't confirm that stuff. You can't even confirm a rumor? You are a moron when you cannot even confirm a rumor. Think about that one. Let that, marinate for a little while. God, I hate comic book reporting news agencies, whatever the hell they want to call themselves. Fake news, die in a fire. Wow. There's a Nico Minoru reference right there from the Runaways. After that, here's the rant on Screen Rant. Screen Rant specifically, these freaking morons. Not as bad, but bad enough. As a 6-year infantry U.S. Army veteran, I like to say that I know a little bit of something about the military. All right, it's dated. It's dated. I got an honorable discharge in February of 1999. You know what I'm saying? Signed up when I actually need my mother's signature to sign in because I was 17 when I signed up. But I was hoorah, gung ho. That's actually more Marines, but I was hoorah, and freaking some moron at Screen Rant decides to do this article where they say Cap has committed treason in Empire's Captain America #1. I reviewed that. Did you review that?
No.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I thought maybe he slipped it by me or something like that. They call what he did insubordination. Listen, man. Listen, when you can't even like, don't review a comic book, or at least if you're going to review a comic book, don't talk about the thing that you don't know about, or maybe ask a question. But this is one of the problems with, and I don't know if you've experienced this or not, but I've experienced this a lot. I've talked with many people about this. Comic Uno, agreed with me a lot on this one. I think more than anybody else I've ever talked about. When you do comic book reporting, it feels like people expect you to know everything and be the ultimate authority. I get people all the time talking about, he calls himself Comic Book University and clearly doesn't know such and such and such. One, you were wrong. I was right. Two, maybe you were right about this or that, whatever. But, I can't be expected to know everything. And I, unlike many people, don't claim to know everything. And I don't, while many people will lie and act like they know everything. And that's what I think this person, I'm not going to name his name because he's not worth giving the person's name, but this person from Screen Rant goes and reports this stuff. Captain America in this comic book, there's this general who shows up and somehow thinks that he can just command Captain America to do stuff because Captain America used to be in the military. I used to be in the military. If a general walks up to me and says, I need you to lead some troops through such and such and such, I'm going to be like, buddy, there's a choice to be made here. The choice is, do you want to kiss my left butt cheek or the right butt cheek? Because I am not leading troops anywhere. You can't order me around anywhere. If martial law is enacted, I cannot be reconscripted. My time has passed. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I can't be drafted if they need to bring up a draft. I'm done. I've served my time. So when it wasn't called for, I served my time. So there's
no. Is that
no
an age thing? Are you too old to serve a game?
Actually, technically, yes, but they could still technically go past that, whatever. It's just the idea that when you have the draft can happen at any time, but if you've already served and your 8-year window has expired from when, once you've signed the papers, they have 8 years that they can recall you at any time. So even if you only signed up to be in active duty for a year, which I've actually seen somebody who signed up for I think a year, or he said a year, it might have been 2 years, whatever it was. It was in basic and people lie in basic. They can still bring you back within 8 years. So with 9/11, people were reactivated and my 8-year term actually ended 8 or 9 months, I think 9 months before 9/11 happened. I was still thinking about going in, but I decided not to. Just had a kid. I'm like, I'm not going to do all that stuff.
How do you feel about that decision?
I feel really good about that decision and the after effects of it. But at the time when things were heated, no, I was just like, we got to get revenge and we got to go in. And I was really young and stupid. So whatever. Anyway, so this general saying this stuff is nonsense. But this guy going and saying that when Captain America disobeys a direct order, I'm sorry, you could give me a direct order. I'll ignore it. If I tell this guy to go jump off a bridge and he doesn't do it, is he disobeying a direct order? I guess technically, but is that treason? This guy doesn't understand what treason is. Not obeying a direct order from an actual superior, that's to suggest that Cap was actually in the military still, would be insubordination, not treason. Treason is very well defined, and especially, this is what kills me, especially after the Senate tried to go after Trump for treason. They very clearly laid out it's about giving aid or comfort to an enemy. So I don't understand how everybody doesn't understand the difference between just doesn't, even if you don't understand the difference between insubordination and treason, how everybody doesn't know what treason actually means. Treason was not mentioned in the comic book. This moron on his own came up with, I'm going to start talking like I know about this thing. No, you don't. You should ask a question. I hate when people do stuff like that. It's painful. Painful. It's like when people say, go ahead.
That's why you don't read Empire tie-ins or any tie-in.
No, the tie-in was fine. It's the jerk from Screen Rant who tried suggesting that this was treason. It's like, dude, why? No, it's not. No, it's not. Stop making things up. So yeah, that was just frustratingly annoying.
Clickbait, baby. You gave Ta-Nehisi Coates praise for not writing the tie-in to the comic book.
I did.
But where would that even fit? Because everything Ta-Nehisi Coates is doing exists right after Secret Empire. there's no space for them to, like, join. Like, continuity wise, it would make no sense to me to see Captain America act like Empire was just happening, because that would throw everything out of whack.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know when it's being written. I know what, like, I didn't comment on that. I don't think I even used the word praise, did I? Like, I gave him credit. I gave him respect, whatever. Even if I did say praise, whatever. It's just the idea, like, I'm definitely going to give credence to the idea that, like, I'm happy for this guy. I'm I'm impressed. He wasn't interested in doing a tie-in.
No, he couldn't, though. No. It just wouldn't fit in. There's no way it could have even happened. The way that he's writing, he has not acknowledged. I don't think War of Realms was acknowledged by him, or even the Avengers teaming up and him being on that team. It's just a different thing that's happening in his comic book.
Good. In his Black Panther, in all of the stuff that he's done, I don't remember. Maybe he has at one point, but in his first volume, because this is his second run on Black Panther, like, it's the same run, but it's different volume. Anyway, different renumbering, I should say. So I don't remember him doing a single tie-in. Like, this guy is literally just like, I'm not doing your stupid tie-ins. How many events have we had since he started writing?
Yeah.
I'm going to say about a dozen or 3 dozen.
Absolute Carnage and War of Realms.
Damnation.
All the X-Men stuff, the Damnation. Yeah, that's
way
another
back
one.
Then.
We got Infinity Wars.
Yeah, Infinity War. Like, there was a lot of... I don't remember if that was on, but I think Secret Empire, wasn't that going on during the time?
Maybe.
Like, he was doing a lot of stuff, or there was a lot of stuff out there. He was doing this for a long time now. And he's just like, yeah, no, not interested. And I respect the hell out of that. I do. Instead of caving to the pressure of, no, I need you to do a tie-in because blah, blah, blah. No, screw you. Have somebody else do it.
Now, here's where I get mad at Marvel. Mm-hmm. Are we done what you're talking about? Because this is separate.
Yeah.
Black Panther is a big enough character right now where he should influence an event, like a Doom War type thing that happened back then. It's about time we get another. Venom inspired Absolute Carnage, and coming up it's called King in Black. That's Venom. That's a B-tier character. Black Panther, maybe he's not A-list. Maybe he is now. Who knows? But he's definitely B-list himself. And the Black Panther should have enough things happen in his comic book where the world is at threat, and they need him to save everybody, and he needs to lead the way, especially being the captain of the Avengers right now. But I need them to show him respect before I can, like, take him seriously. If they want me to take him seriously, and this applies for Kamala Khan also, you gotta give them events. You gotta say what's happening in their comic book is important enough to influence and reflect on the whole Marvel universe. The same way the X-Men do, and the same way Iron Man does, because he got Iron Man 2020. No one's reading it. Actually, the sales have not, like, increased from the regular Iron Man run. I wish I knew the numbers.
There are no tie-ins.
Sure there are.
There are ancillaries, but no tie-ins. It's not tying in with anybody else's run.
Okay, yeah.
Captain Marvel's not affected. Ms. Marvel's not affected. Champions, if that was around, like Captain America, nothing's being affected by it. It's all ancillary issues.
Yeah, you're right. Champions coming out is going to be a 1 of 5. They actually said that it's going to be going to 5 issues, which pisses me off because I thought Outlawed would be like a industry-wide thing. Industry-wide, you know what I mean? Publisher-wide thing that just is touching everybody. But it feels like that it might just close up after issue number 5.
Marvel has been... they announced last year they're going to do less of the big events and then more of the smaller events. So, like, what do you call it? Damnation was a smaller event where pretty much everything was just an ancillary as opposed to tie-ins also. War of Realms was obviously one of the big ones that had ancillaries and tie-ins. They had their own series. Like, what the frick are you doing? Damnation was one of those. That was the first one that Donny Cates was actually involved on, but he was co-involved. Nick Spencer was the other one. You were talking about Venom being B-list. Yes, I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to say that he is probably more B-list. I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Were you leaning towards C or A?
A. I was leaning more towards A, but then I was realizing it's really only because of Donny Cates.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me to the thought that they're not making the event because of Venom. They're making it more because of Donny Cates. Like, that's my outlook on it. It's more of a Donny Cates event than a Venom event.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like Absolute Carnage was, same like with the King in Black. It's just Cates wants to do this thing. Cates is the hottest damn property in comics right now. Personally, I think that it's deserved, but I think that Tom King needs a lot more respect also. He's going to be doing not Tom King, Tom Taylor. That was a huge mistake on my part.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but these are both
Tom
people
Taylor.
who you've had a problem with on Twitter.
Tom Taylor should definitely be one of those big things, possibly even bigger than Cates, but we'll see. What do you call it? He's doing his Deceased event right now, which is effing huge and multi-spanning, and he's writing all of it, which is just unheard of. Imagine one person writing all of the tie-ins for the event that he or she is writing. That's crazy. He's going to be doing the Dark Ages thing for Marvel starting next year. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
That's good. Maybe
Yeah.
the whole break helped him with having enough time to write all of these comic books.
Yeah. Suicide Squad that he's writing right now is just one of the best books. Issue 7 just came out. I'm loving it. I'm lapping everything up. It's great. You know?
Tom Taylor.
Hell
I remember wanting Matthew Rosenberg to do X-Men Red and upset that Tom Taylor was doing it.
Mm.
But Tom Taylor, he delivered.
For such a short run where it was like, stop. When he was stopped, he was yoked. Like, stop, we're going to end all this stuff because Hickman's coming in. Hickman. So, like the run that he was doing was pretty good. It was great. He just had to be yoked really quick. And it's like, you felt it. You felt that it all just came to an end way too quick. The stuff that he was doing with Cassandra Nova was like, oh my God, this is exactly what should have always happened with the character. Like it was incredible. I didn't like Jean Grey's costume design, but I don't think that was him.
Regarding the X-Men, or regarding the A tier, B tier, C tier, if Alex Ross didn't draw you on that big poster that they put in Marvel Studios, did you see that? He drew like a wide.
You drew me?
He drew a wide image of all these Marvel heroes, and if you're not on there, then you're not even. You can't consider yourself A or B tier, I would say. There was like 20 heroes on it. You got Colossus, because he knew he had to draw something with the shiny, metallic kind of thing.
Yeah, that chrome.
You
I
got
actually
Hulk.
watched him do some of that stuff live because he has his own channel. I'll watch him. I'll watch Jesus Abertov. I'll watch him, even though he does it all in Spanish, and my Spanish sucks. But it's helping me improve my Spanish. Hey, to all you Latinas out there, las
He's
cosas que taría. But anyway,
It's like Azul, Rouge.
right? Orinjiru. Oh wait, no, that's Japanese. My bad. What do you call it? Sorry, now you got me thinking of colors in the different languages that I know. So, we're just talking about, that was actually really good. That was actually really good. Stanley Archer Lau. I watch his stuff live also. Yeah, because it's all worth it. But Alex Ross just has this way of doing his art. It's crazy. Oh, Neil Adams. I also watch Neil Adams on Facebook, though. That's on Facebook. So anyway, yeah, it's a huge, beautiful mural on put up in pieces, and it's amazing. And I can't wait to see all this stuff. Like seeing the individual characters on there, forget about it, man. Can't wait to see the new Iron Man being put out, because like that kind of work being put into it. That dude, who's writing that? I forget. Do you remember?
Christopher Cantwell.
There you go. Dude's pretty good. Dude's pretty damn good.
I think his Doctor Doom is the breakthrough comic book of the year.
For him, yeah. I thought that it had moments. I don't think it was that damn good, but it definitely had its moments.
When I saw that Kang the Conqueror was involved, I tuned out. Any time travel stuff for me is just, it's like, Chillmonger, you don't need to read this anymore.
Yeah, it does get annoying after a while. I don't know. Seeing Doctor Doom get a new form of armor mailed to him in a box, and then being a hobo on a train, and those weren't like two separate instances. No, that happened like here's the end of issue 6, and that happened in the beginning of issue 7 or something like that, whatever those issues were. It's like that was a seceding event that happened. I just got new armor and I'm so powerful now. And it's like kingly and robes and stuff like that. And then he's a hobo on a train with Kang. And I'm just like, I'm so done with this comic book. I'm done. Sorry.
And I'm so done with Tom King, who we brought up earlier. He actually made an apology to Jae Lee, and then Jae Lee came out and was like, yo, look, my dog died. And so the whole controversy from the beginning is Jae Lee worked for Comicsgate's, well, who was it? Ethan Van Sciver? Who was it?
Ethan Van Sciver, yeah. He did some covers for him for his Cyberfrog and stuff, yeah.
And doing that is a cancelable
event.
It's not. I don't think that, especially when you're like a freelancer, you don't got the choice, the ability to decide where you're going to get the work from. You can, and that would be great to have those high standards where, I'm not even going to F with this Comicsgate guy. He even claims that he didn't know who Comicsgate is. Yeah. I don't know enough to know enough. Like, Heather Antos seems to not believe in that that's a true statement. She tweeted, like, are we, like, what did she tweet? Something about holding him accountable. We're just going to pretend like he doesn't know who Comicsgate is. She said something like that, where I don't know. I'm not in the industry, but Heather Antos is in the industry, and she may know something that I don't. It may just be like a part of an email that goes out to everybody from Diamond that Comicsgate is a thing. Please don't give them publicity because they're a hate group. That could be a thing. Maybe everyone knows about Comicsgate, and if he's pretending not to, he's a liar. But I haven't also seen him condemn Comicsgate either. I haven't heard him say, I am aware of what Comicsgate is now, and it's bad, and I regret, drawing for them. I won't be drawing for them again. He's never said that one either.
Wait, didn't he?
Jae Lee? No, I don't think he... did he? If you know where I should go, then I will go there. But I don't remember Jae Lee ever saying something like that. He may be for Comicsgate, but his apology was just like, sorry. Or his not apology, but his statement to the thing was, I was blindsided. I can't believe that this happened to me at a horrible time. And Tom King did not reach out to me. Tom King is bad, blah, blah, blah. And then Tom King made an apology.
I didn't see an apology from King.
He did that recently.
What, today? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, maybe a day ago on Friday.
Oh, it's funny how that works. Here's the thing. Heather Antos. I love Heather Antos. She's awesome. She's clearly good at her job. She does. She's an editor at 2 different companies. At Valiant, she's the senior editor. I mean, that's a big deal. I've talked with her in person. She is very knowledgeable about comic books, including comics that I've never heard of. This one series she was talking about, and she's going into detail about it, and it sounded interesting. I didn't go back and read it, but she's got a good eye and a good ear for comics. She's good. She's definitely a professional. Put up with a lot of crap. She was the original hit piece on on Comicsgate. So clearly she's going to know about it. She just took a stupid picture with a bunch of girls celebrating Flo Steinberg, where some of the ladies from Marvel and DC got together, and they had they bought milkshakes. That's it. And Comicsgaters jumping on there and talking about, these stupid bitches and stuff like that. And then with Heather, something that really popped out to her was they said, I'd bang the one in the front or something like that. She wouldn't bang you, loser. What? It's nonsense. Look, to me, a person who is on social media, not as much as some people, but I am on social media. I do check my social media every single day. Yeah, I know what Comicsgate is. I know that it is a hate group. There's just no doubt in my mind they are a hate group. They make some good points. I'm not going to deny that. I can look at things objectively. They do make some good points. There are people like what is it? Ren, what's the person? Ren, you're on Twitter also. Ren Famous. Are you familiar with Ren Famous? She's a cosplayer or a former cosplayer, and she does a lot of stuff. She talks about stuff like that. what do you call it? She went and posted something like these 2 tweets that somebody wrote, and it's like they're obviously a hate group. Look, and then post these 2 tweets, and it's like, I hate to say it, but these are actually pretty worthwhile tweets. Talking about, I don't know what a POC is. I think a POC is supposed to be person of color, right? POC capitalized. I think it's supposed to be person of color.
I hate that saying. White is a color too.
Yeah, it is. In fact, I think white people are more color than black people. Black people are just black. Like if I'm angry, I turn red. You know what I'm saying? If you punch me in my eye, it turns black and blue. You know what I'm saying? Like if you hit me in the arm really hard, it'll turn purple. Dude, we are way more color than any black person has ever been in any form or stretch of the imagination. That being said, what do you call it? They like the one thing they were saying, we wouldn't put a person of color in a comic book unless it was important to the story, or it actually made sense for the person to be in the comic book. I could see where that could seem a little bit like, no black people unless it's important. I could see that, but I see it more as opposed to they were arguing for forced diversity. Mm-hmm. You got to make this person black and you got to make this person. And it's like, dude, you don't force that stuff. Actually come up with the ideas. And for me, it's like if you're only familiar with white people, or if you're only familiar with black people, understand you've chosen a genre that you're going to be selling or making your comic book for and selling your comic book to. If you're not diverse enough to know how to write different people, okay, cool. And let's be realistic. Too many times, and I know that you want to talk about this later, like putting in LGBTQ community members into a comic book when you don't understand the characters, maybe you should have just not done that. Maybe you just shouldn't have done that, because you don't put people in just for the sake of saying, look, because that's when a person becomes a token character. That's when that happens.
You talking about X Factor?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to talk about that. As I was saying, that's why I didn't do a review. We were talking about this earlier about why I didn't do it.
I thought you wanted to bring that up. Okay, never mind. So this is going to get into the Bryan Singer stuff we're going to be talking about. I think pretty soon after this. Anyway, I literally look at it as yes, they are a hate group. They are a hate group. But some of the things they say do make sense. They are fair. You've got to be fair, and you've got to look. You can't just say everything that somebody says is wrong. Everything, they're always wrong forever. No, you still look at some of the things that they say and weigh it and measure it. But always keep in your mind they are a hate group. Don't give them credibility, but at the same time, here's the thing. But we're on social media, so we see these things. Jae Lee says that he's not on social media. Likewise, apparently he's not really on social media like all that.
Okay.
So that's the thing. When we're in a bubble and we think, there are people who think that Hindus cannot be violent. They're the most non-violent people in the world. But if you were to ask the Rohingya... I don't like
the direction this is going, but okay.
Okay, fine.
You want to use another analogy?
No, I don't. But if you were to ask the Rohingya, do you think that they are nonviolent?
Is that a group that has experienced violence from Hindus?
Yes, these are the people these are Muslims who have been attacked and murdered and raped by Hindus. And they're living in Bangladesh right now. And the Bangladeshis are like, dude, we can't afford to keep you guys here. What the heck is going on? But it's like, where else are we going to go? They've burned our homes. They're kidnapping and murdering our people. Like, it's a horrible thing. And these are Hindus that are doing it. Are all Hindus bad? No, but don't go the other direction and say that they're this peaceful, beautiful, people who couldn't possibly have any kind of, angry thoughts or something like that, or actually do acts of violence. Because, yeah, they can.
They're people. They're flawed.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is not a reflection on the religion. The faith itself is a peaceful one.
Yeah, if for practiced. The most part, practice. To a degree, there's also the Kama Sutra. So where they talk about the rape of young children, boys and girls. So, there's goods, there's bads. There's good and bad in everything, including religion. And we just have to be cognizant enough to realize that, Some things can veer more towards bad, though, like Comicsgate. There are definitely, you go and, sit quietly in a live chat for Comicsgate, and you just see the crap that's going through the screen. You're like, these people are savages. the things they're saying about women is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I've never seen Jae Lee being maybe he has, I don't know, but like he's just a guy who's just trying to do work, and there are lots of people who are isolationists, and they're very what's the term? There's outgoing introverts and extroverts. He's very introverted. He just doesn't get out there. He doesn't do that stuff. He's more about his art. You know what I'm saying? So he's not an apologist.
Is it are you damning him? Is it like an offense for him to be doing work for Comicsgate?
No.
Okay.
No. Well. Now he said he's not going to do anymore, which is okay. Now he found out about it. I'm not going to be doing any more work for Comicsgate. I'm disavowing this stuff. Whatever. Okay. Cool. That's cool. But here's the thing.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. But here's the thing. When you're in your bubble, like Tom King. See, because Heather Antos, I 100% understand. She was the first person attacked. They still to this day do this nonsense. Like, it's ridiculous.
I see her motivation. She's just so anti-Comicsgate that she would make a statement like that. She's not even that wrong. If she knows for a fact Jae Lee knows about Comicsgate, then Heather Antos is correct right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's been 5 years. If you don't know about Comicsgate in 5 years, I lean more towards Heather Antos' side because I think you should know at least what they are or have been told about them, the anti-diversity people. I lean with Heather Antos, so I can't really say she's... Anyways, it's really like a non-issue. It's a Tom King issue for the most part.
It really is.
Yeah.
And again, I just lean in it as this is not like Nazism. While many of them may be Nazi sympathizers or whatever, I don't know. I'm not making that accusation. I'm just saying whatever. A lot of them seem to be alt-right, which is a neo-Nazi hate group. It's the idea that, it's not Nazism, where you can just say, everybody knows what a Nazi is, but only people in comic books can be expected to know what Comicsgate is.
Yeah, we don't learn about that in history class.
Yeah, my nerd, I hang out with the Nerdarchy crew and stuff like that does role-playing games, and they just had me on for an interview a couple months, like 2 months ago, whatever, and I brought up Comicsgate, and literally they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. What? They had no idea, but they do role-playing games, and some of the role-playing games are comic books, and they read those comic books, and they watch my reviews on those comic books, and it's like, but they have no idea what comics. So it's not like it's this big international organization where it's like, everybody knows what that is. No. So I get it that he's in the comic book field. That shouldn't be immediately damning. I'm more willing to give the benefit of the doubt and just say whatever. I've said before, and I've been potentially corrected on this. I don't know. I'm not in the industry, but an industry insider, no names, shot me a correction and said, hey, actually, that's not the case. Dynamite does know what Comicsgate is. Like, okay. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. This guy would know better than I do. But
Dynamite did an anti-Comicsgate statement.
Yes, and they only put it out to comic book websites, which was interesting because they were originally going to get somebody to do something, and they're like, oh no, apparently this is a bad thing. Yeah, it was a big thing. We talked about it. We talked about it recently, and they just put out this thing during this week. Yeah.
I don't think that it's interesting. They only sent it to comic books websites. That it makes sense. That's who's going to talk about it. That's who's going to know about it. Mm-hmm. And to make a general statement anywhere else, first of all, what other site wants to post?
How about social media?
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to give them publicity. You want to give them oxygen. We're making the statement. Here it is. Go find it. But I'm not going to on my, because I can relate to this. I barely talk about Comicsgate on my YouTube channel because I don't want to give it oxygen. I don't want to give it publicity. One time I did a Riri Williams video. I criticized the comic, and at the end of the comic book review, I'm like, by the way, F Comicsgate, just so you guys know I'm not with that. It made sense at the time. But so I can see why they wouldn't want to post it on their Twitters.
I guess.
They'll be like, we exist, hooray. I remember the Star Wars people who hate Star Wars, what they're called, the Fandom Menace. J.J. Abrams, it's a cool name. See.
Hold on now.
What?
I am not familiar with that term, and I am a huge Star Wars buff.
Okay, so YouTube reviewer, all these people call themselves Fandom Menace. J.J. Abrams mentioned the Fandom Menace one time, and I remember going to or seeing a channel on my recommended we were recognized. You can see that we're making some strides over here. And I'm like, oh man, this is hilarious. I think the guy's name is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Go watch his channel from like 6 months ago, right before the movie came out. He's just like, yeah, man, rallying the troops, doing like a whole 6 minute, we did it, hooray. Now what we got to do next is we got to make demands here and there. First of all, he's not even wrong. I respect everything he's doing. Calling yourself fandom menace, joining a group, comics get. The thing that sucks about that is once I can call one of these guys a sexist or a guy who just hates women, then he just tarnished the whole group. It's a bad apple.
Okay, so I don't understand.
spoils the
Wait,
bunch.
so fandom menace, good group, bad group? Your opinion?
No opinion. I can't say either or.
Okay.
Because I'm someone who hated the movies also, and so they are upset, and they call themselves the fandom menace. It's just like a nickname. I don't think there's a website for it or nothing organized, but people who don't like it call themselves fandom menace.
That's funny. Okay, interesting. Yeah, but anyway, so like I said, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, here's the thing, though, about the Tom King incident. He goes on and he makes this big thing to Twitter. He doesn't reach out to him. He just goes and does this big thing. And it's like, what is that other than virtue signaling? You're not willing to reach out to the individual. You've already labeled him. Yep. You've already said, this is a terrible person, blah, 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 blah. Now, it's nice that he did the retraction, but let's also remember exactly what happens. If you say something, that's what gets the big splash. If you apologize or redact it later, not as many people are seeing that. Too many eyes are on, yeah, but he originally said. Even the people who wanted the apology are like, okay, but it's still too little, too late. And he didn't actually apologize. Like I said, I didn't see. You're saying that he actually apologized. I didn't see that. I saw the thing where he says, okay, yeah, I talked to Jae Lee. He's not actually Comicsgate. We're all good. Bow, 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 bow. Jae Lee goes and puts out this big, long thing where he points out, towards the end, we're not all good. And we shouldn't be all good. We absolutely shouldn't be all good. And you know what? I'm going to look at this as, you know what? Honestly, like, I'm super critical of being former military, infantry specifically. American Army infantry have been put on a lot of missions that the CIA organized, and it's mostly just cover-up crap for the nonsense that they did in the first place. So I'm already super hypercritical of anything CIA related.
And Tom King was a CIA agent.
Yes, he was. And it seems to me like here's this guy whose job, and I don't know what his individual job was. I don't know if he was a burn notice, kind of guy who went behind enemy lines. I don't know anything. He might have been a pencil pusher, desk jockey. I don't know. But it seems to me like he's just doing your typical CIA nonsense where it's like you barely investigate something. You go based on a rumor and you say, all right, let's go kick some butt. And it's like, wow. For a guy who was supposed to be formerly Central Intelligence Agency, meaning you research things, you'd figure he would at least have the goddamn brain cells, enough of them to rub together, which is what, 2 or more, in order to actually contact Jae Lee and say, hey, the fact that he apologizes, it acknowledges that he was wrong. Just again, I can't confirm. You're saying you confirm that there was an actual I'm sorry or I apologize. You know what I'm saying? Good. He should do that. And he should do it every single day for at least a week. Every single day. Stop posting pictures about your dog or post the pictures of your dog and say, hey, by the way, I apologize to Jae Lee. Isn't my dog awesome? Just whatever. Honestly, because you made a huge splash that was posted on things. You made a huge splash. Mm-hmm. You don't get to this is the thing. When you do something, you don't get to determine the effects of what you do. You only get to determine what you're going to do. That's it.
Well, he intended for those effects.
Yeah, that's what makes it even worse. That's what makes it even worse. Like I was going to say, if I call somebody a freaking idiot to their face and they punch me in the face, sure, I guess technically I could sue them. But I could also look at it as, well, I did call him a stupid idiot. Does it deserve physical violence? No, but did this person deserve being called a stupid freaking idiot? Maybe, maybe not. But the idea is, like, there are always going to be, to each action, there's an equal or opposite reaction. Newton's second law of gravity. So when push comes to shove, like, that's the deal. That's the deal right there. You know, you can't determine what the effects are, what the ripples are going to be of the thing that you do. But there will be ripples, and you have to simply pay attention to that.
Thinking Critical said the same thing about he was a CIA agent, he should know better. This is called investigating. You don't just blurt something out like that. You got to check with Jae Lee.
Yeah, I haven't been following Wes, but yeah, like the time that we talk to each other on each of our channels, he's a smart guy, and he's also former military. He was actually Air Force, if I remember correct. Yeah, he was Air Force, but he did serve with Army guys overseas. He ate the exact same dirt that the Army guys were eating, and to me that's a huge extra special deal right there. And so he knows the crap that the CIA put us through. So awesome. Yeah, it makes sense that he would be on the same page.
Tom King wrote Batman, and this is my segue into the interactive Batman DVD.
Oh, okay, that jumped around. Nice one. October 13th, the Batman interactive DVD will come out. A week later, the digital release will come out, and it'll be $5 cheaper. But you're going to want to get the DVD. One, because now you own the product as opposed to permanently renting it unless they decide, screw you. You know, so we're going to ban your account for something. They're actually going to be, it's going to be a DC showcase. So the DC showcases are when you take a short film and you put this on. The last time they had a DC showcase, if I remember correctly, was the Superman Shazam versus Black Adam special, which was about 15 minutes long. It was epically beautiful. It's my favorite version of Shazam. Real talk. That is my favorite version of Billy Batson, at the very least. I loved that. Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, God, chill. You can see it for free on YouTube. Go and check that out. It's animated, you know what I'm saying? And they also had a bunch of the other shorts that they had from other DVDs. So they would always have, like, the main feature. They'd have, like, a 5-10 minute short of, like, Green Arrow versus Merlin, or, you know, something like that. Jonah Hex was a pretty good one. They had a whole bunch of these. So a showcase, they have one new short film, and then they have a whole bunch of older short films. So this is going to be a showcase. They're going to have 5 short films on there. One is the Sergeant Rock. One is Adam Strange. One is Death, which is the sister of Sandman, Neil Gaiman's version. And then the fourth one is the Phantom Stranger. Again, those have all been released. Those 4 have been released on previous DVDs, but the Batman Interactive is different. So it's going to be Batman, Death in the Family, where you're going to have the death of Robin. Like, you get to decide at a key critical moment, does the Joker kill Robin? Does he survive? And then a third choice, I forget what it is, but like, I don't want to get too, in depth in it, but like, holy crap. And they're going to have different endings based on what so you're going to want to watch the thing at least 3 times. And that is awesome. They're going to have audio directors, commentary and stuff like that. It's going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. October 13th is when that comes out. And there's going to be, I forget what the extras are, but they're going to have extras on the DVD that are not going to be on the digital release, which is extra epic. Yeah.
Extra epic. You want to go into the X of Swords? Because I think I cracked the code.
Okay.
Now, we've got 4 comic books coming out in September. There's an Excalibur, there is an X-Men, and then there's 2 more that are called Chapter 1 of the Ten of Swords event, Chapter 2 of the Ten of Swords event. Show them on the screen for the people watching on YouTube.
Oh, yes. Good bang. There you go.
Did it get bigger? There it is. I hope you can all see that. Now, in Excalibur and X-Men, they're issue number 12s, and I'm going to read those. There are 3 comic books here on this 22 chapter list that are called Ten of Swords blank. One of them is called Ten of Swords Creation. Then in October, Ten of Swords Stasis. And then in November, Ten of Swords Destruction. I believe those 3, Stasis, Creation, and Destruction, are actually the event ones. It's a 3 comic book event. Everything else is just in between if you want to read it. So maybe if you were already reading Wolverine, yes, maybe. That's my new stance on it. So I'm retracting everything I was telling you about like 3 weeks ago whenever I was telling Professor Bill, nah, Bill, you're wrong. I was wrong. It looks like Ten of Swords books are actually canon into the events. Everything else is a tie-in. I am only going to order in October the Ten of Swords Stasis. I won't order the X-Men book, which I'm already reading. I'm already reading New Mutants, and I'm reading Marauders, I'm reading X-Force, and I'm reading Wolverine. But I'm not going to order those because I believe they'll be filler. Whatever happens in them, I'll be notified on when I read Ten of Swords Stasis at the end of October. Same thing for November. I'm only going to order the Ten of Swords Destruction. So right now we're in the order month for October, everybody. I would, just a recommendation. I would consider getting the book called Ten of Swords Stasis written by Hickman. And be very wary of reading anything else.
All right. Cool. Of course, the podcast listeners aren't going to be able to see that list, but I think you explained it very well nonetheless. So, nice. That works. That totally works. Boom. So, yeah, that works. That works. Did you hear that 2019 was the first time that trade paperbacks in bookstores exceeded the sales of trade paperbacks in comic book stores?
That tells me that publicity from the movies, Marvel and DC both, but mostly Marvel, I want to say, has
100%.
It's affected people, the general audience, who don't really go to comic book stores, but they are at the bookstore, they see comic books, and they go, yeah, I'm going to pick that up. So it's being done. Publicity is being made. Yeah. Progress is being made. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Another interesting aspect is I'm thinking the timing. Because I've got an Indigo bookstore, which is the major bookstore in Canada, right outside of the theater I usually go to. It's in walking distance, and I usually like to walk, So I'll walk over to the bookstore, which will usually be open after the movie lets out for Aquaman or Shazam or Wonder Woman or whatever. I'll be like, oh, this is really cool. So, Aquaman was the big one for me. I was like, dude, people are finally going to see how amazing Aquaman is. He's not just going to be the fish guy, So I walked over, and I, of course, walked to the graphic novel section, and I didn't buy anything because I've read most of everything that was there, but they had a huge display for Aquaman. For Aquaman. Think about that, dude.
Momoa Aquaman, or was it like a blonde cartoon?
All of it. All of it. All of it. Anything they had on Aquaman, they put it there, including the Momoa covers and things like that. Mind you, it's all trade paperbacks or graphic novels. I don't remember if there were any graphic novels made for Aquaman. I don't think there were, but there's plenty of trades, the Jeff Johns trades specifically. So yeah, they had that stuff. They had it for Shazam. They had stuff for Wonder Woman. She had at least one graphic novel made for A Spirit of Truth, which I didn't really like too much, but whatever. They had every time there's a movie, I walk over to the bookstore and see what's up. But you know what's not open at that time?
What? Comic
book stores. Yeah. Plus, they're not usually particularly close to the movie theaters. So the comic book stores are usually, to me, I've always seen them more out of the way, where the rent is usually a little bit cheaper, off of the main roads and stuff like that.
There's one right in the middle of Yonge and Dundas Square.
All right, cool. One, that's more anecdotal than anything else. Even Gotham Central, dude, which is way bigger, it's kind of off. You've been there.
Yeah.
It's like in the background behind Dixie and stuff like that. It's off Eglinton, way off of Eglinton. It's back there, dude. It's next to a flea market, for crying out loud. So yeah. They can't afford to be open those hours. They can't get close to it. So I'm seeing it. Yeah. So your analysis, I think, is very spot on. It sucks, but I guess thoughts for the future. You want to keep talking X-Men? Talk about Bryan Singer?
Oh boy, you can talk about that. I'm not going to touch on this one because I've been knowing about him and I've been not caring about him and not giving him oxygen.
I didn't know about this stuff until when I was talking about it and you were like, oh yeah, it's known in the industry. I was like, wait, you knew about this stuff? Yeah, I didn't know. So apparently there's this article by the Hollywood Insider. They were talking about how the whole cast and crew was ready to walk out during the filming of X-Men 2 because he got high off of some drug that a lot of the other not the crew, not the cast, were high on also. A bunch of them got high also. It was not safe. This one guy was like, "No, we should not do this," and they were like, "No, do it now." Singer was like, "Do it now." So the guy did the thing, and he had the guys in there. There was a huge mishap. Hugh Jackman was apparently bleeding. I don't even know the details of it. They won't say the details. Like, nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody's pushing it under the rug. Like, if I ever see Hugh Jackman, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, what was that thing?" I'm gonna ask all of them, "What was that thing?" Because they like he was apparently bleeding, pretty heavily, and he had to shoot while he was bleeding, and then the guy was supposed to be fired for it, so he was just like, "Yeah, no, not cool, man." Um, so they all walked in. Ian McKellen and Rebecca remained Stamos. She was Stamos at the time. Didn't do this, but everybody else walked in there, and they're like, "We're gonna quit if you're gonna fire this guy. If you're gonna send him back to London or California, or where the hell he's from." And they and Halle Berry at one point said, "Yeah, you can kiss my black ass," it's actually kind of funny. Apparently, they make fun of him a lot over that, and they also crack that joke on her every so often. It's like, "Hey, anybody kiss your black ass as of late?" Which is just, I love that. That's freaking great. When you say something that actually gets it, like other people aren't familiar with. I grew up hearing that all the time, but like when nobody else heard that before, and all of a sudden it's like, "Hey," it's like, "Wow, you are so out of touch." But yeah, dude, there was a lot. Like, people suing him, his antics behind the stage, getting going on drugs, bringing boys in. This is the thing that kills me about it. He used to bring a new young boy with him all the time. He would have, like walk-on lines where nobody talked, and he would actually fly them in across the border. They'd be coming from like California, and he would fly them into Vancouver or Toronto, depending on where they were shooting. So across the border, and it would just be a walk-on role, which would usually be like, "Here's $75, walk from here to there, don't look at the camera." That's it. And he would fly people in to do stuff like that. Like,
a lot of angry dads.
Were there? Should be.
Yeah, that's a Simpsons reference to when Homer became the Green Incredible Hulk thing.
Nice. Oh, I should have seen that one at least. Jeez. But nice one. But yeah, so and apparently this was what's her name? Laura Schuler Donner. This is Richard Donner's wife, who's still really big in the comic book movie industry, which is good. Richard Donner, of course, Richard Donner's Superman, which was like still the epitome of a superhero movie, in my opinion at least. But that's usually the gold standard everybody's shooting for, to try and make a movie like that. Kevin Feige was dispatched by Lauren to get Singer's antics in order and put a kibosh on them and stuff. Like, dude, not even just allegations, lawsuits where they're settling out of court as long as there's a gag order placed on the victims, which these are clearly victims at this point. It's like, we're going to pay you a lot of money, but you can't talk about this. And what's worse is that Fox Studios accepted this stuff. They accepted this stuff. They knew what he was all about. And they kept on bringing him back because apparently he's a moneymaker. And they pointed out something. This is the Hollywood Insider article. They talked about how there would always be a lot of boys on the set. And I didn't go back and look because I just got finished reading this article recently, like getting in depth with it. I didn't go back and watch these movies, but I'm remembering there were a lot of young kids in the movies that he was responsible for. The first two X-Men movies, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. He had a lot of young kids in that movie. Dude, what the frig? So something that's been pointed out that a lot of people are talking about is, and there's a rainbow at the end of this, and I mean that in a double entendre. A lot of people won't call him out for his antics, for the things that he did, specifically the apparent rape of young boys stuff. So just really quick, you know this stuff better than I do. Bryan Singer is gay. We can confirm that?
I can't confirm that. I don't know. I'm unsure of. I just know he's bizarre. I don't even.
Okay.
Sometimes I see the beginning of these, and then I just leave it alone because I don't need to see that.
Okay. because like I don't know one way or the other, obviously, but they always seem to presume that he's gay. And there were certain things in there. They never said Bryan Singer, who is gay, blah, 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 blah. Because they'll do that with like black people or white people. Terry Crews, who's black, says that Black Lives Matter is a bad movement. It's like, that's important to put in there, right? So here, why didn't they put that in there? I don't understand why they didn't put that in there, but okay. So now I'm left wondering, wait, is he gay? Because most of the stuff I see are allegations against his friends. So that's especially weird. Speaking of which, one person who was accused of doing things to little boys, Michael Jackson, and cleared 100%, Michael Jackson, still one of my heroes, he wanted to be Professor X. And they were like, no. So that's actually fun. That's in the same article, Hollywood Reporter. But Shaq apparently came on there for something also. And they were like, we've seen you in Steel. You're not coming anywhere near this, Kazam. Get out of here. So that happened. That was apparently a thing. I guess because he's bald, he wanted to be Professor X too, maybe? So they said, what's his name? They go and they say that if he wasn't gay, or they allude to the idea that if he wasn't gay, people would have said something. You know, Weinstein and all these people who go after women, they say something. People, you know, oh, bow, 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 bad, 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 right? But with Bryan Singer, apparently that never happened. Here's the light at the end of the tunnel, or the rainbow at the end of this, you know, pot of gold. GLAAD. This is the group that is known for protection of LGBTQ community members, especially youngsters. They came out against Bryan Singer. They apparently recalled one of the GLAAD awards that they'd given to him and everything, because they're like, no, this is way too much. And being gay being part of a protected group, specifically that protected group, does not protect you from other children who should also be protected, just people in general. So this is especially troubling to me, because like even they are pointing out, if it wasn't for him being gay, apparently being gay, then people would actually say something about this. And this is shocking to me, but at the same time I understand it, you know. I mentioned when I said I was going to bring this up, and you said you didn't have too much to say about this. I said, you know, have you ever had a moment like this where you thought I would have said something if the person wasn't gay? I remember I was working in a Walden Books. Yeah, remember? I was working in a Walden Books, which used to be a very small mall bookstore that was owned by Borders. Borders got shut down and everything, so it is what it is. Now only Barnes and Noble exists, apparently. It's Amazon's fault, damn it. Anyway, so I was working there, and I've had to kick people out of the store for multiple stupid reasons. Sometimes they would come in and they would like right-wingers would take the Obama books and turn them completely backwards, so only the paper instead of the spine was showing. It's like, you know, oh, we're going to hide this book, or we're going to show our dissent because we don't like Obama. Wow, I've never seen that with the Clinton books, which I figure you do that, but okay. So I have to take that as racism, but whatever. I see them doing that, and it's like, dude, I don't know what point you think you're doing, but all you're doing is making more work for me. Not only get out of the store, but if I ever see you in the store again, I'm calling security and I'm going to press charges against you. Get the hell out of this store. You know what I'm saying? So I have to go over there and I start turning all these books around backwards again. I've seen people.
It's interesting that people say racism doesn't exist. It does, and then like even something as little as that, as little as turning the page so that you don't see the Obama part of the book. That's crazy, and it's like,
how petty is that?
It's petty, but it's also like pure racism and hatred. And there's actually people on the news who are gonna argue, you know, it's not that bad, like what's happening. Not racism isn't everywhere like everyone claims to be. And I can look at examples where it's everywhere. It's even in the bookstores.
Yeah.
Sorry, resume.
It's just silly, stupid people. It's like I said, it's just so petty. But it's like the only thing you're doing is making more work for me. You don't think I have enough work, you know, running around here? So whatever. Anyway, so in the kids section, people would put up stickers with like curse words and other oh my god, I know the word, expletives. They would put up little pictures of body parts, male and female body parts and stuff like that. Yeah, really stupid people. And it's like I got to literally go around with a straight blade and start slicing off these little, because they're up all over it in the kids section. People always do stuff in the kids section because we had it in the back of the store. We shouldn't have done that. People in the back kissing, smooching, snogging, whatever you want to call it, practically hands in each other's pants. And I'm like, guys, get a room. And I don't mean the freaking kids section of all things. Like, come on, man. A mother's going to come back here with their kids, or say, go in the back and look in the, your section. I'm going to look at some stuff over here in the history section, and you're back there, feeling each other up, and they got to see, dude, nah, get the hell out of the store now. You know what I'm saying? And I've been rude. And like, these are practically the exact thing. I have people saying, oh, nice language. Nice language? You're back here practically naked, groping each other. You're going to get upset that I said hell? You freaking morons. Get out of here. Go complain to somebody. I dare you. Just like unbelievable. These people, unbelievable. But then there's this one time I walk in the back and there's a gay couple. You know where this was going, right?
No, I didn't know.
I walk in the back and there's a gay couple. These two guys, and they're loud about it. Usually other people are like really quiet about it. Let's be quiet. Let's come back here and let's start kissing because we're in the mall and we're doing something frisky that we shouldn't be doing. I'm surprised they didn't try to go in the back room. These guys, I walked into the back specifically because I heard and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, what the hell kind of nonsense is going on? Like, we don't sell porn here. What's going on? Okay, my bad. We actually did sell Playboy magazines, but they were covered. But I go walk, and they're in the front too. I go walk in the back. I'm like, what the hell is this fresh hell? What is this fresh nonsense going on? And these two, and I'm just like, oh crap. So now here's me, as I'm walking back there, and in a split second, I thought, crap. I have kicked people out for the exact same thing. Technically, for even less. People trying to be quiet about it, and these people are so loud and obnoxious about it that everybody in the store knows what's going on. And I kept my gaze straight ahead, and I walked straight ahead and acted like I had to go in the back for something. And I didn't have to go in the back for anything. And I waited in the back room with the door closed. I counted to like 20 or 30 or whatever it was. I looked around if there was anything I needed to bring out. And then I walked back out, and I walked right past them again, still giggling and chuckle fucking and whatever the hell they were doing, and acted like nothing. Why? Because I thought it's going to be seen as a hate crime if I say something against them. Now, maybe I was wrong for that. But at the end of the day, I literally looked at it as this I could get in trouble for doing the exact same thing, and for being nice about it even. Like, hey, guys, you can't be like, you're in the kids section, and like, you got to go. You got to go. No, that I could actually get in trouble for. That's what was in my head. And so I can imagine that while you can go after a Kevin Spacey, you could go after a Harvey Weinstein, you can go after people like that, a Bryan Singer, if in fact he is indeed gay, that's one of those things where it's like, well, I guess that we should just leave alone. But these are underage kids that we're talking about. So I think that, once again, I think that the outrage culture and the cancel culture, this is part of the stuff that right away, and like, while I understand the idea of protected classes, I still think a lot of this stuff has gone too far, where we can't just simply say, dude, hey, like, we should be looking for equal rights, not special rights. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't want to comment?
I told you. I have nothing to say.
I understand. Okay.
The Man of Steel, Justice Khan.
Okay. Here's where things start getting really funny. So I decided to watch a lot of these things. Justice Con is run by, well, they at least, it seems like there's a bunch of people there. There was these 3 girls on there. I saw their names. I don't care about their names. I don't have anything nice to say about them, so I'm not going to say their names. But they ran these 2 Justice Con things. The first one I'm going to talk about is the one with Zack Snyder. Before I get into that, I want to talk about David S. Goyer. This is where I'm going to bring up Blade again. David S. Goyer, one of the most famous writers in movie history. He's, like Pan's Labyrinth and all 3 of the Blade movies, plus the Blade series. He did the pilot and the final episodes of the Blade TV series, which didn't have Wesley Snipes, But those 2 episodes were the best episodes that there were. And I think he actually co-wrote them with Jeff Johns, which is, think about it. He also wrote The Man of Steel. And he decided to once again bring up the killing of Zod. So he says, the reason why Superman had to kill Zod, you know what he's going to say. What's he going to say? What do you think he's going to say?
Because Zod was going to kill the innocent people?
Yes, exactly. The only argument that could possibly be made for this, he was going to kill. He simply wouldn't stop. There was no other choice.
As the story writer, screenwriter, director, as the person in charge, you made that scenario possible to even happen.
Yes, you put those chips in place.
Mm.
So the whole story is just mute from the beginning, but the way that he kept on going on about it and trying to defend it, as opposed to just being a grown-up, being as we said in the 80s, and I don't think we're allowed to say it anymore, just be a man. I always saw it as being a human, but whatever. Just be a man. Admit that you're freaking wrong, which is something that most people, especially today, it seems, can't do. Nobody can say, you know what, my bad. I actually screwed that up. That was all me. At some point, but Zack should also take some responsibility for this. I'm gonna listen. He changed Blade, but he changed Blade for the better. You've seen the old Dracula comic books, like the first appearances of Blade and stuff like that.
Nope.
Oh, dude, he was black. He had this huge afro, like all black characters apparently had to have back then in the 70s, because that's what we saw on TV. He had this brown bomber jacket with the fur on the collars, and he had wooden stakes strapped across his chest. And for some reason, he had goggles. Later on, they explained they helped him see in the dark and protect against bright light. Somehow it did both. They were polarized and infrared. Interesting. If Batman could do it, whatever, then so could Blade. But they were just regular goggles, like, not Cream of Dr. J, like Dr. J used to wear. Anyway, so yeah, and he was boring as hell. He was boring as hell. He was cool, but he was still boring as hell. He was very vanilla. Saying like, so what? You hunt vampires and you're half vampire. Cool. David S. Goyer came along and was like, I got this thing. This is before the X-Men franchise came out. This is long before Spider-Man. This was the movie. Blade 1 was the movie that it made me turn around like, oh. I remember my buddy Chris sitting right next to me was like, this is the comic book Blade, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I don't remember the character very well. Is this what he was like in the comics? Like, no, this is way better. You'd figure he could do that with Superman, right? Nope, he funked that one up big time. he tried to do the Blade treatment to it. He ruined it. It's ruined. It's not right. I'm going to bring up the Lone Ranger. Reading this story last week infuriated me. I actually started making my own little. You can see my drawing there if you guys want to check out the I'm going to try and turn that into my own little comic thing. I haven't drawn in forever, and all of a sudden I was just like, I'm going to draw something. So, boom, I drew this little cowboy guy with a mask because I started thinking about the Lone Ranger. As I'm reading this, I just kept on thinking about the Lone Ranger. So the Lone Ranger is a character who is one of the original inspirations, along with Zorro and the Shadow, who started off on radio, and he was a masked guy. There were several rules that they wrote in for the Lone Ranger, that whoever was going to write for this character, be it on radio, comic book, TV, whatever, and he was on all of those mediums and more. He was an anime. He was a cartoon for a while, for crying out loud. That there were several rules for him. I don't remember them all, but there were some that I always remember. One, he can never be seen without his mask. Right? There was a song called, I think it was called "Bad Bad Leroy Brown." The way that the chorus went, you ever hear this one?
No, how does it go?
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind.
Yeah.
You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Oh, that's what it was. Don't mess around with Jim. Bad Bad Leroy Brown was an entirely different cool song. Anyway, okay, yeah, it's hard not to, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the rules. You don't have the Lone Ranger without his mask on. It's that simple. There were several rules. One of those rules, and here's the one that relates to this, to the Superman, the writing thing. He can never be written in a way where it seems like the odds are so overwhelming that he has to retreat or ride away or look like he's truly outgunned. it could seem like a hopeless situation, but it cannot be a truly hopeless situation. That's important. He can never ride away as he's being shot or retreat or fall back or anything like that. And he doesn't kill. That's another thing. He doesn't kill. You know, when he uses silver bullets to shoot people, he doesn't kill. So like there's those rules. It's like it's written in. That's what you do when it comes to the character. You never have him in a truly hopeless situation. So what did David S. Goyer do? He put the Man of Steel in a hopeless situation, where his only option apparently was to kill. Actually, we've already talked about there are plenty of other options he could have done, but that's like, to me, like you just said, you just don't do stuff like that. So his whole thing was just booty to me. I was so angry reading every single word of that article. Like, excuses are just silly.
Yeah.
So
Does Ray Fisher have anything to do with this?
Kind of, because Ray Fisher was the other person that they were talking to. So they did talk to Ray Fisher first. On this Justice Con thing. So he talked about the meaning of Borg life, which I dig on that. He talked about it basically means making the best of a negative situation, because apparently he's been talking to a lot of people about the Joss Whedon stuff for a long time. It's only slowly gotten into the media, and he slowly tried to bring it up because he did have to kind of rally some support. That's the way that movements work when little guys try to go against the big guys. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that clarification was actually really important. Some of the we're going to get more into that in a little bit, because they don't go half an hour before they get into that stuff. He played Muhammad Ali in a play.
How about that?
Yeah. He's a DC. He's a DC mark, specifically for Batman, but for anything DC, he prefers DC over Marvel any day of the week. He'd be happy. Here's where you're going to love this, and this comes up to old podcasts that we've had. He'd be willing to play a rock or a tree in a Justice League movie. That means he'd be willing to play. And it's funny because a rock or a tree, that means he'd be willing to play the Thing or Groot. Well, those are Marvel characters.
I thought you were going to say Black Adam, a rock.
The Rock. That's The Rock. Come on, get your article straight, man.
Said,
and the, there's difference, all right? Is any. The is like, that's the one. So there are no other rocks when Dwayne Johnson walks into a room. He could be mountain climbing. It's like, what's he climbing up? I don't know. Insignificant pebbles compared to him. That was on the spot. Come on, that was kind of cool. I want a little credit for that. Anyway, also he'd be willing to play a tree. So you'd be willing to play Scarlett Johansson?
Again, there's too many of these examples where people say you've got to be blank to play blank, or I consider it acting. Therefore, I don't laugh at these jokes anymore.
Oh God. Let's see. Oh, what the hell? Okay, I wrote some stuff. Oh. I talked about these. Okay. So, hold on. They invite Joss. Oh, wait. He invites Joss to sue him for libel or slander or anything.
He shouldn't be the one doing that, especially after the Jody's Corner tweet that he made. This guy's petty. He will actually go on a YouTuber's channel. He was watching Popcorn Planet, and as Popcorn Planet,
Ray Fisher?
Yeah, Ray Fisher.
Okay.
As Popcorn Planet, as Andy Signor was talking about him live streaming, he clicks on his account, and all of a sudden he's blocked from Ray Fisher's account. And the only way for that to happen was for him to be watching the video about him. So live on stream, he's like, "What? Are you watching right now, Ray Fisher? That's very petty of you. You just blocked my account." You know, like, he got caught doing that live.
Wait, did you actually see that? Because maybe he blocked him a while ago. I don't know,
because it was available
at the beginning of the podcast,
and then it became unavailable during the live stream.
Oh, that's messed up.
So maybe his handler, the person who runs his Twitter, or maybe it was Ray Fisher himself.
Maybe. Either way, whatever. People are allowed to block people if they want to block. I don't know that that's petty. If you're talking trash, like, you know, it's like, oh, blocked, whatever.
Once you're a celebrity, though, you're gonna be the subject of "I disliked him in this role," or what we're doing right now.
Okay, yeah, but does that mean that he's not allowed to block him? I don't see that as petty.
Okay.
It's like he was watching. He's just like, oh, you going to talk some trash about me? Whatever. I don't want to hear it. He didn't go on there and just be like, you know what? This is Ray Fisher. Screw you. That would be petty. He literally just like, oh, okay. So he stopped watching and he blocked him. I don't see this petty. That seems to me like that's the adult thing to do. I'm not going to engage you. I'm literally going to disengage you.
Right.
I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. Like that, when people sit there and say like, oh, you blocked me. That's so petty, or that's so stupid, or you pussy, or whatever. It's like, dude, that is the most adult thing you could do. It's like, I don't feel the need to even engage you or to correct the things that I think that you're wrong about or whatever. It's like, dude, bye. Not even a bye. Just, if you ever go and look for me, you'll see him go. Why am I going to give you access to my stuff? You're just going to do this, this negative reporting of my stuff. Nah, dude, that's like the most mature thing possible online. I don't care what any of the freaking trolls are going to say. So,
okay, so here's the petty part of it.
Okay.
You have to be watching this other person's live stream that's talking about you in order for you to block him.
Yeah, okay, sure.
The petty part is you care about what other people think about you. That's pathetic.
No.
A celebrity is watching a video on himself because he cares about the public opinion of strangers.
You're putting thoughts into Fisher's head.
No, that's exactly what you're doing. You care enough if you're clicked on that video.
So there's no arguing otherwise. There's no use in even hearing a counter argument. Okay, cool. So John Berg, for enabling the situation, should be scared. He said that John Berg should be scared because John Berg was saying a bunch of things, whatever. He's like, John Berg should be scared. He should absolutely be scared. He's like, he's arranging this movement and whatever and blah, 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 blah. And he's saying just, do you have my back? I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want you to come out or anything. Just, do you have my back? Do you agree with me what I'm saying about such and such, this guy's behavior and whatnot, Joss Whedon's behavior? And all these people who he works with and knows really well, and he keeps in contact with all these guys and whatnot, they're all saying, yeah, dude. Yeah. 100%. So he's like, all right, cool. So he's pushing forward with something that he believes in, that it seems like the industry is showing. A lot of these freaking directors and whatnot are acting like prima donnas, and maybe they need to be stifled. Maybe, I know it's great art and things like that, but like, excuse me, especially when we're talking about Bryan Singer with little boys and stuff like that, is this okay? Like, one of the things that Fisher talks about is the, oh, crap, what does he say? Oh, man, I can't remember what he says. It's a thing where he says, like, accountability is more important than entertainment or something like that. Right? It's one of those things. Anyway, he says something that like accountability is more important than whatever. So you see something like that and it's like he really does mean it. And that's one of the things that I think that we really need to see is that, with the Bryan Singer thing, especially, I'm just like, dude, yeah, 100%. It's good to see that. Fisher is also pro-union, so perfect. Has the ability to take a loss. He says he has the ability to take a loss because he has no wife and has no kids and if he needs to, he can live with his mom. He didn't specifically say that, but he alluded to the idea that when he was broke, he went back and had to live with his mom for a while. So, it's like he's got means. He'll be okay. So he's willing to give up all this stuff. Just like, what did you say about who's the guy who actually got the role of Finn?
John Boyega.
Thank you. You love what John Boyega says. Fisher's saying the exact same thing. He's like, dude, fire me. Ostracize me. Maybe my acting career is over. But there should be accountability for the stuff that happens. So, and again, we don't know the specifics of what happened because he is still apparently under this thing where he can be sued and whatnot. So once that clears, that's when apparently it's all going to come out. Okay. And if he's this hot about it, dude, if it comes out and it's just some nonsense and it's just like, yeah, he talked really loud and excited and spit came out of his mouth. So I felt like he was spitting on me. It's like, bruh, grow up. But I mean, if it's, it could actually be something big. And we've seen even in the things that we're defending Joss about, it's like we're still looking at the idea that he does act up and who knows what else is out there. You're going to say something?
If it's something big, then there should be no order that's protecting him or protecting the company from him speaking out. Because if it's something like that breaks the law, then that won't stand in court. Like, yeah, well, X happened. He shot me, killed me. Or just killed me. Yeah. But he shot me.
That's much, yeah.
Yeah, that you can always speak up against that, and they're not going to look at it like, no, it says you're not supposed to talk about that over here. The judge will laugh at that.
Yes, but we also see the things that they're willing to cover up. Like, think about this. Bringing minors over the border for the purposes of sex.
I'm literally trying not to think about that.
Okay, but you yes, I am, because this is what film studios permit. And he's specifically talking about this is what, Joss Whedon did some bad stuff and these people enabled it. I'm sorry, I'm just seeing what I believe is a bigger picture. That's all. Here's the thing. Here's something. He says you got to remember, we're dealing with people with a lot of money. Yes, 100%. So this is the everyman, screaming up, trying to hold people in power, speaking truth to power. There we go. Speaking truth to power. Here's something for you. He forgives the naysayers in advance because they don't know in advance. Boom. Digging that. I'm definitely digging that. Same things. Some things are more than about self-preservation. He talked about his barber a little bit more. That was a fun segment last week. Said some people are conflating Joss and the barber. He says that a lot of people were conflating, and I saw this in articles. I didn't report on it because they didn't clarify anything, so I left it alone last week. But apparently a lot of people are in the so-called comic book news reporting agencies are saying that Joss Whedon was the person who purposely, pettily kept the barber's name off of there just to get at John. And apparently that wasn't the case. It wasn't his personal barber, but he was the barber for him there, on the set. He did a bunch of people's hair. So that wasn't, so he's not saying that Joss Whedon had anything to do with that. He just looks at it as, somebody on the set, somebody, whatever, in charge of production, whatever, said, screw that guy, leave his name off or something, So that's cool. He's being fair in that regard. Shouts out Jovian Wade on Doom Patrol, even though he hasn't watched the Doom Patrol. He's like, it's like, because I'm going to get into these girls in a moment, but they were practically filleting him on the stream. Like, they were just goo goo gaga over him. Like, this guy could have coughed and they were like, that has got to be the coolest cough ever. Like, go back and if you ever watch the stream, dude, they were just the whole time, oh my God. Like, everything. I don't even know if it was a sexual attraction. Like, I don't know, but it was, and just wait until I start talking about what they were doing with Zack Snyder. Speaking of which, Zack Snyder showed up. So he showed up and they were like, Zack Snyder is next, but he's in the stream now. Let's bring him on. And so that was actually fun. They were talking back and forth with each other and they were having some fun. That was actually a cool moment. He has a Twitch account, Ray Fisher, where he plays video games and he just talks about video games and plays video games. They talked about the Snyder Cut book, or that there is talk about a Snyder Cut book, which I think would be pretty cool. So we can actually read about all the ongoings and where it all started. Him ripping off his shirt the first time with the Borg life and all that stuff on there, like the Snyder Cut and people talking about it. Yeah, all that stuff. So I think that would be really cool if somebody actually somebody officially did make a book on that. Told he would have 3 movies to grow his character. So Justice League 1, 2, and 3. So he was told there would be 3 movies for you to grow your character. Didn't get that. That might change. Who knows? That might change with the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, so my final take on it is Fisher is really smart. He knows his Shakespeare. He started quoting Shakespeare. Like, he did play acting. And he did it in, I think, California, but he also said he did it in New Jersey. So, hey, he was right next door when I wasn't in New Jersey at the time. But yeah, so that's actually cool. But he was literally quoting Shakespeare in there, and not just small lines like to be or to not to be. No, lines that I don't know. And I've read the hell out of some Shakespeare, and he's going like long on them. Like, damn, Home Slice knows his stuff. He's very humble. I was actually surprised at how this is the first time I've ever seen him actually having a whole conversation with anybody. Seemed really humble to me. Willing to talk to people and listen. He's willing to fight for justice, and he knows his comics. Like he got into detail about his comics. This is the thing that we talk about all the time. These, like for instance, one of the things they were talking about with Bryan Singer was like he's not familiar at all with. He never read comic books in his life. And we were just talking about last week how Kevin Feige, or the week before, had to sneak in and give Hugh Jackman comic books of Wolverine so we could see at least some of the poses and know some of the things that he would do and whatnot. And Snyder was like, no, keep those comic books off of my set. Like, what? What? Oh, one of the things in the Hollywood Reporter thing was that they actually brought in people who would do a character analysis for each character and whatnot, which is why that so many of them had such good like one-liners on there, which is really cool. You got to read the Hollywood Insider article. There's a lot in there. A lot more people should have had writer's credit on there, including Joss Whedon. Even though they only kept 2 of his lines in there, he wasn't credited the appropriate way because Singer was just like, no, this one guy.
You know Joss Whedon's the one who wrote the Toad line?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
But the other one he wrote was the one where Wolverine sees Cyclops and he wants to make sure whether or not it's Mystique or not. And he's like, you're a dick. And they're like, okay, that's how we know.
Nice. Okay, it's you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so, yeah, boom. And as far as the hosts, all they were doing was just swooning over him the whole time. They barely asked him any questions. They met him many times before, so they at least it was more like friends talking. But they were talking about so many things, and they didn't reference it clearly. It was literally like just 4 people who knew each other having a conversation, and they didn't recognize. They kept on saying, "Oh, 3,000 people watching right now. That's crazy! Wow." Okay, then maybe recognize that these people like me that we're watching and actually freaking give some references to the things that you're talking about. Hey, you just talked about this thing. Why not tell me what this thing is? What can I find out more about this thing? Like it was really weak. It was weak. And there's just a constructive criticism at this point, but it gets worse with the Zack Snyder thing. It gets a lot worse. You ready to move on to that one?
Yeah.
All right. So during this thing, they show, and this is funny because Zack didn't know if he was allowed to do this or not, if he was allowed to show this clip, but they showed this scene where Superman in his black suit flies down and has the conversation with Alfred. And Alfred's like, oh, sir, it's an honor, or whatever the hell he's saying. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, that's cool. So people were just like, so they were making fun of the idea. Yeah, people thought it was Martian Manhunter and stuff like that. And it's like, no, whatever. And I'm just like, hold on. I saw the original clip that they showed just, it wasn't even a clip. It was a clipped scene. It was just a single image of Alfred behind a Batmobile looking and going like this as somebody's talking. And the only thing you see is a flash of red on the side. Not the black cape, but a red cape, which is why people are saying Supergirl or Martian Manhunter or whatever. So how are these people wrong for their synopsis? How are they wrong for their guesses? Like it's one of those things where it's like you're forgetting history. And it was like right away. That was just frustrating. But anyway, they showed that and they're like, let's see it again. Let's just show it like we watched it like 100 times or like more than 100 times. And it's like, why would you watch that scene more than 100 times? These 3 girls, like, why would you watch that scene more than 100 times?
They're fans.
I'm going to get into that. So one of the 3 hosts says that Zack Snyder should have played that scene in the background of a Marvel panel in Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. So Zack knows people all over the place, so they were suggesting that they should have, oh yeah, like he was always saying like, oh, I was going to try and get them to play it during a thing in Comic-Con, and just, boom, so you could just walk in and just see the whole Snyder Cut. And this was years ago. Just here's San Diego Comic-Con, here's a hall, and just come on in and you can watch the uncut Snyder Cut.
That's cool.
Awesome. That would have been epic.
But
so the girl's
it
like,
doesn't make money, but that's cool.
No, it wouldn't have, but he didn't care about that. He's just like, I've got it, so whatever. You know what I'm saying? The movie's out. I'm just going to put this out. He just wanted his vision to be out. That's an artist. That's what artists do. You know what I'm saying?
It's not realistic, though.
It's the guy's got enough money that he doesn't care. And actually, I'm going to get more into that in a moment. A positive and a criticism on it. Anyway, a compliment and a criticism. Let's be fair with the English language. So anyway, so they're like, you should have done it in Hall H at one of the at San Diego Comic-Con during a Marvel event. These are 3 very swooning young girls who are talking, and they really like it feels like they don't have a thought between them. It's like it would have been ripped. It would have been ripped apart. Yeah, right. They're no Stepford Cuckoos. See that in them in the background? It's like literally, like it would have been ripped apart. People were like, "What's this?" It's unfinished, but it still looks really good. Wait a second, is this that Justice League movie? Turn this crap off, man. Loki is on stage. F this Snyder crap. Like, could you imagine? Like, I know it's just in jest. It's like, it would have blown those. This is literally 3 little girls, or let's forget about, you know what? This almost sounds misogynist. I don't even mean it like that. This is literally just 3 Zack Snyder fans, not even DC fans. These are 3 Zack Snyder apologists and fans just swooning, going, oh my God, Zack is the best, and Marvel sucks. No, it doesn't. Proven, demonstrably. Marvel is doing way better on pretty much every single front. You can't even say their animated movies are better at this point because nobody cares. Even with the Batman thing coming out, let's wait and see what the sales are on that. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile,
Where do you go
Disney's
to see the
just
sales on that?
DVD sales and whatnot. You see the sales. They'll have those sales posted like a week afterwards. You can see the first week sales. Usually, actually, be like a month later. You can see those first week sales.
On Wikipedia?
But anyway, that's one place to see the sources, and then I go to the sources. Okay. But yeah, they're supposed to cite their sources, otherwise it gets taken down really quickly. They actually do have moderators, believe it or not. So anyway, and they're mostly just looking for sources. So it's like when you've got Tom Hiddleston on stage acting like Loki and stuff like that, do you think anybody wants to see a trashy movie that came out? A trash movie that came out, and all anybody knew about this movie was that it was trash. Superman with the mustache gone and stuff like that. Like all the things that people are going to hate about what Joss Whedon did. It's the silliest thing in the world to make these arguments.
Yeah, I can't imagine myself going to Comic-Con to see a movie, which takes so much time out of my Comic-Con experience.
Well, like I probably would. Yeah, I know. During Comic-Con, it's like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. You're talking about like sitting down for 8 hours because they brought it. He was talking about how he brought it right to the very edge of the reel, where it's like there was almost there was almost few rotations left on the reel before it was finished. So like, wow, he really took up a lot of time.
Does that mean it was shot on film and not digital?
All of it. All of it, like the different way. I think he was talking. I didn't even think about that. He's literally just talking about the idea. Like I took it to its max. You know what I'm saying? I brought this as much as it could possibly go. So you're gonna cut stuff down. You got a lot to choose from. So boom. Again, Zack Snyder is freaking amazing with his cinematography, but he clearly does not know these characters. He'd like to think he does. He does not. And that's the thing why it would get trashed at a Comic-Con, especially a Marvel panel, where it's like, this movie had its chance. Bye. Nobody liked any of the other movies that came out. The movies themselves were good, but the comic book fans, that's where your real money is coming from, they weren't interested. They simply weren't interested. How is this not a beaten horse at this point? I mean, the majority of people agree. The box office sales, the DVD sales, everything, the view time on freaking DC streaming service and HBO Max compared to Disney Plus. I'm sorry. Like this is such a belabored subject at this point. It's frustrating to even talk about it. Good.
Were you going to change the topic like I was?
I was. Oh, you also? Yeah.
Darth Maul? Disney Plus?
Like that? Yeah, let me just finish up. Zack said that he's going to do all this stuff for free, making the Snyder cut, version, which is interesting because technically he's not an hourly employee. He got paid to make the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now he's just going to do his version of it, which is again a labor of love. He already got paid though, even though he left early or was removed early. Who knows the sources of that? Whatever. Zack's the kind of guy, he doesn't want to just start putting people on blast. I'm going to get more into that in a moment too. He's just like, oh, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to do this for free. Technically, it's not for free, bud. You got paid to do this. You already got the paycheck. You're just doing this extra stuff. The stuff you were supposed to do, you're finishing it up for not an extra paycheck. So there's that. But, let's just be fair both directions there. He's not an hourly employee. He thanked the hosts so much for the Release the Snyder Cut T-shirts and merchandise that went out, which was very cool because that went towards mental health and suicide prevention. So while these are a bunch of swooning little, what are they, teenagers? I don't know what they are. They're just swooners, basically. Just anything that he says, they're like, oh my God, you're the best. At least they were doing stuff for a good cause. And obviously this is something that affects Snyder personally, since his daughter did commit suicide. So that's important. That's cool. I dug that they did that. I don't know if they made any money off of it whatsoever, except for their costs, but they donate a lot to mental health and suicide prevention. That's awesome. Zack Snyder was like, literally, your shirts saved lives. Very few things you can ever say that with. So like that was really cool. He was very appreciative of that. He's got a big head, but he is very humble also. It's surprising to see that diaspora in a single person. He made his own T-shirts where it does some Snyder cut stuff on the front. There's some Roman numerals where you're going to have to figure out what that means. Snyder with his freaking Easter eggs and codes. I love it. And on the back, it says associate producer, and the people who order the shirt will get their name on it. So it'll say your name and associate producer for the Snyder cut. I kind of want one of those shirts right now. And the first 1,000 are going to be for free. And then you can go onto a site if you don't want to fight the people on fandom. It's again, this is the girls not doing their job and saying where you can get all this stuff, just assuming everybody knows what fandom is. I didn't even know what fandom was. I had to look it up, but it was last week. I didn't write it down. I thought I'd remember. I don't remember. So fandom. Apparently you can go to fandom and you can find it and you can get the shirt. So anyway, yeah, the first 1,000 are free. After that, when they're ready on August 22nd, so not now, hbomax.com/Snyder Cut is apparently where you can try and get those shirts, either for free or just pay for one if you're one of the lucky 1,000. He promises he will not use one shot of the theatrical release. He'd rather destroy it, burn it, blow it the fuck up, his exact words, and he reiterates he hasn't seen it yet. There's just so much right and wrong with that. It's like you're going to keep your integrity, but at the same time you're busting on something, whatever. But he also didn't say Joss Whedon's name, which I thought was actually very respectful. Regardless of, we'll see what happens with his antics. He didn't say Joss Whedon's name, so interesting. Meanwhile, they kept on trying to throw shade at Joss Whedon, but at least they didn't say his name also. And even then, while they were doing that, he kind of turned that around and he was like, no, actually, it wasn't that, or no, this was actually good, or whatever. So this is one of the major reasons why I thought like they were just literally filleting him at this point. Well, figuratively filleting him at this point. There was no reason to sit there and just start trying to take pot shots at people, and he's not taking pot shots. It's like you try to honor somebody by insulting someone else. Most people don't like to hear stuff like that. So yeah.
He's being professional.
Extremely. Like, he didn't hold a grudge against anybody. He didn't hold a grudge against Joss so much as the company and just the process of the movie being released, which that's respectable. I get it. The hosts and Zack demanded to see the black suit in the movie. The executives fought against it. They're like, this is a key piece of comic book literature. The black suit was only showed in, I think, one issue. Technically, there was a cameo in one issue, and the next issue he fought in the black suit. But for the most part, like, it was a very small window where he wore that black suit when he came back to life after the death of Superman. There was the reign of the Supermen, the 4 Supermen. Which one was him? Turns out it was none of them. And then, boom, he comes back, and he's wearing a black suit because, hey, but he was super weak and whatever, so he had to use guns, and he had a mullet.
Yeah. I remember that one.
Right?
Issue 95.
Was that right?
No. Anyway, it was 4 different issues altogether. They had 4 different Superman comic books, even though the actual Superman was in none of them. But it still worked. No, dude, it worked. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. All that being said, it's funny that they're demanding the suit and saying, hey, such and such and such, but I've never heard, and maybe I just didn't hear it, but it happened. But I've never heard of anybody from the comic book industry being brought in and actually getting counseling on them or advice on the movie. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're demanding the black suit because you saw it, and people were like, oh, I hope that we're going to see the black suit at some point, because people were demanding the black suit. So he's like, the fans want to see a black suit. It's apparently something really important. Where can I find the black suit? Oh, it's here in the comics. Oh, let's talk about this. Okay, that's great. So, again, Snyder, brilliant cinematography, blah, blah, blah. But just showing a black suit, even though the executives don't care about it, just like, we got to have the black suit. What exactly does it signify? What exactly does it represent? What's so special? It's just an effect. It's just a prop. He's more about doing these cool props, but he's not going to actually get the characters right. If I were to show Zack Snyder this Superman as opposed to, okay, I can't pull that one up because but that's my statue. If I were to show him this Superman as opposed to any other Superman, what would be different about this Superman? What is this Superman?
I see the hair.
This is This is Dark Knight Returns Superman. It's not a mohawk. That's Dark Knight Returns Superman.
Okay, but the sides on the left and right are smaller than the side on above him. That's a mohawk.
It's not a. No, that's when you're bald on both sides and just go straight up. Think about Sheamus. All right, Sheamus had a mohawk for crying. He had a faux hawk. But anyway, so like the idea is like if I even if I say it's Dark Knight Returns Superman. What does that signify? Zack Snyder could not tell you those things. Again, beautiful cinematography. He does not understand the characters, which is why comic book fans, not Zack Snyder fans, not movie fans, comic book fans have abjectly rejected this movie. Hands down. The conversation has been had, Zack. Freaking catch on board with that. Jesus Christ. At what point is he going to figure that out? Will it be released as a series or not? We're going to find out in fandom. So apparently there's going to be like the 4 episodes. So will it be released as a series or will it be released as a single movie? Like, we don't know yet, and he's not allowed. Actually, he knows, but he's not allowed to say. He's got to wait until fandom that'll be released. And again, they didn't say when fandom was or what fandom was or how we could watch it. So that was extremely unprofessional of these hosts. So my hot take, the hosts were terrible. It was just pure adulation for Zack Snyder. That's all it was. Attempting to take pop shots at Joss Whedon for absolutely no reason. And they were all shot down by Zack. Yeah. Every single one of them was shot down. He's like, stop. Again, at least they didn't mention his name. Nothing informative from them. Everything that we got was from Joss. Oof, my bad. From Zack. Everything was from Zack. And Zack, and the problem is that since Zack had to say everything, I would say that easily 50%, and I'm not exaggerating, easily 50% of that hour-long casting, like live stream that they did, was Zack going, seriously, because he's thinking of things to say. He's thinking of things to talk about. And they're just like, we just want to see you and hear you. How about you actually act like between the three of you, none of you could come up with things to continue the conversation? You're just gonna let him go the entire time? It was pitiful. It was freaking pitiful. They should consider watching other people. I don't care if it's me. I suck sometimes too. But
Plenty
the
of
idea
room
is
over here on Chillmonger. When I do videos saying I'll just restart them.
well, there you go, right? Just have something to do, have something to talk about, have actual questions for the man instead of talk to us about how great you are, which is basically all that was. So fandom.com is apparently where you can see this stuff. I had to look this stuff up. I wrote that down. Zack is fun and grateful. He was very grateful, which I loved. Not as arrogant as he used to come off to me as. I see him as extremely freaking arrogant. Maybe it's because of the tragedy of his daughter. I don't know. But in this, I was actually able to watch him even through the ums, believe it or not. There were some times it was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, move forward. Stop. Oh, my God. But anyway, yeah, so there's that. But he doesn't come off nearly as arrogant as he used to be. He is neurotic as hell, which is both good and bad. And he did get some information. Case in point, he knew Darkseid's real name. And he didn't explain it. It was only, again, nobody questioned him on it. I don't even think the girls knew. I highly doubt the girls knew what his real name was. They were just like, They didn't ask questions. Saying they're
obviously they knew.
Yeah, of course. When you don't talk, it sounds like you know what you're talking about. Yeah, of course. His real name is Thanos. It's actually Uxus. Because as soon as he said it, I was like, wait, is he going to say that again? And I'm trying to I'm expanding the screen so I can find a way to slowly click back. But no, he said it again. I was like, holy crap. He actually knows that Thanos. Look what you did to me. Darkseid's real name. Holy crap. That was freaking weird. The girls talked about one time, oh, yeah, some people don't know what this person's name is, that person's name, how they're pronounced, because when they were writing comic books, nobody ever thought about that. Oh, my God, get a freaking brain, because they actually have thought about the way that names are pronounced, including Jack Kirby. And one of the ways was actually engaging the fans and correcting fans when they spoke. Stan Lee had his soapbox. DC had their own version. They would actually talk to the fans, and they would give the pronunciation sometimes in the comic books. You just had to actually read the comic books to know that. But again, Zack Snyder says something who never read comic books, and these girls just, yeah, nobody ever thought about stuff like that. Just.
So how did they correct people who said Namor the Submariner?
Oh, that's one of those things where they assumed that nobody knew, but no, like in the beginning, there was this what is it called? There were 5 of them. There was Namor the Submariner, and Thor. Stop, please. There was Thor. There was Captain America. There was the Hulk, and there was Iron Man. There were those 5, and Jack Kirby drew all the original layouts and whatnot. And it's basically just it was an animation. It was a TV show where it'd be on for 15 minutes at a time, and there would be 2 of them back to back with each other, and they would actually show this animation of these cool comics from back in the day. And the only animation on there was they would have an arm move, or somebody would blink, or something like that, or maybe like the lips would move and it would look like they were talking a little bit. But for the most part, it's just voice actors reading the comic book, and they would have little panels and moving in. And you can find them all for free on YouTube. They're amazing. Look up Namor Submariner animated series and you'll see it. And they actually had a song in the beginning, and they always called him Namor the Submariner. So that's one of those funny things, because I remember, I don't know if he still does it, but Rob from Comics Explains for the longest time was, yeah, Namor the Submariner. And I'm like, he does not work on a submarine, so he would not be called a submariner. That's what a submariner is. That's someone who actually works on a sub.
Was Rob old enough, or was he young? Yeah, old enough to remember the cartoons?
It's the idea of do the goddamn research. It's not that hard. Every single one of
that mistake.
I can forgive it too, clearly, because I've still watched him even through it. But there was some things where it's like the submariner thing. I'm just like, how do people not know that? Thanos. How are people always saying Thanos?
Look at the word.
How about also, have you ever studied Greek mythology in English class in 8th grade? Because I did. So, like it was a class, not even just a class. It was a couple classes that were taught where we learned about the different gods, and they never talked about the Norse gods. They only talked about the Greek gods. And they talked about, some of the characters, and they talked about Thanos. So, like, to me, like, I don't know, maybe I got a better 8th grade education than most people, but it's just one of those things. Like, that's something I can, I guess, forgive also, whatever. I'm okay with it.
Okay, help me out. Yeah. How do you pronounce Wolverine's son?
Dakin.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, even just looking at that in the English, and this would be an English language thing. It wouldn't be Dakin, because, like, it technically could be, because there's only one K. Like the 2 Ks would make it more obvious that it's Dakin. But it would also look like Dakin, because you could potentially pronounce the K twice, and make it, like for each syllable. But it would actually be Dakin.
The shorter words are, the less space it's going to take from the artwork.
I guess there's that too. Well, how do you explain Mitya Spitlik?
Yeah. Well, he ain't in much comics, is he?
And that's one. No, but he was in the TV series a lot. And he pronounced his name and boom, boom, boom. So anybody's just like, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Dude, watch a cartoon. I don't know what to tell you. Go to a Comic-Con and ask some of these people. Like, the information is out there. There's the internet also. Easiest thing in the world.
I think if you look at Henry Cavill, it'll be on Google. It'll be on the side. You pronounce my name, Henry Cavill. It rhymes with travel. And that's why I know to say it right now.
Boom. There you go. Yeah, I've made mistakes on characters' names too, and it's like, it's not that big of a deal. They made it such a big deal. Ms.
Marvel. It happens.
That's one of those things where it's like, again, as a classic feminist, I look at it as whatever, feminist supporter. Like, honestly, whatever. Why do women need 3 different titles, when men only have one?
Mister.
That's it. Mister. Not. Well, depending on if you're married or
Mrs.
Not. Yeah.
If you're unmarried, you're a Miss. But if you don't want to divulge that information, there's Ms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's booty.
It should just be Ms. for everybody, the same way it's Mr. for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in Spanish, it's señorita and señor.
Yeah. So you want to talk about Ray Park? Yeah. So after all that kerfluffle, and last week you were talking about how he probably wasn't going to. It's one of the greatest English language words ever, right? You said that there probably wouldn't be any ramifications. Well,
was there any scuttlebutt?
Yeah, nice one. Well, do you know whose ship that is in the Marvel Universe? Somebody has a ship named Scuttlebutt.
Deadpool?
Beta Ray Bill. So it's a sentient ship, and it's freaking awesome. She is amazing. So I don't know if it's a Ms. or a Miss, though. So apparently the rumors are, and it's not official, but lots of insiders in Disney are reporting that they're going to be moving forward without Ray Park, citing the internet thing. Like, we don't know what's going on, and it's better to just be safe than sorry.
Okay. Well, they're kind of doing the exact same thing with Hawkeye, right? Unless you want to believe Haley Steinfeld's really been signed and they're moving forward. Even though it's been like a break for the last 4 months where I don't believe anything has progressed at all. They would not be in the position to make any advancements. But anyways, yeah.
They don't really have to because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, dude, I knew it.
Too bad.
I freaking knew it. It is, and it's, well, it potentially sucks. Look, if he is guilty of this stuff and he is really a terrible human being, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's a possibility that they know something that I don't know.
There's a possibility. There's a possibility. And it would just be nice if it was addressed. It would be nice if it could actually come out. Because now there are fans, I'm sure they're going to be, I'm just predicting, there are going to be fans who are just going to be like, dude, what's up? Like, why are you moving forward without the guy? Apparently, he was really hacked.
Yeah.
But the people came out and this is not too dissimilar than the Tom King thing. People pay attention to that first thing. People start talking about the whole thing, and they don't notice your retractions. You know, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I just want to know. I want to know because if he really did these things, okay, absolutely, you're done. You're done. It was nice knowing you. You know, saying go get a job at McDonald's.
You're done.
Another Simpsons.
No, what Joss Whedon did to Ray Fisher, isn't that? He said, "You hear me? You're dead. You're dead."
No, to James Marston. You're dead. You're dead. Yeah, not you're done. You're dead. You're a vampire. You're an undead. You're dead. That's what it is. So nice one though. But yeah, like I said, if he was guilty, if he's the one who actually posted that stuff and he really did do all the stuff that he's accused of, screw this guy. Get a job at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? But
not Baskin Robbins. Baskin Robbins always finds out.
Do they?
Yeah.
What's that from?
From Ant-Man 1.
Oh yeah, you're right. Nice. Oh, okay, enough. You're losing me on this stuff, man. But yeah, but if he didn't do this stuff, I don't want the guy canceled for being hacked. I just want to know. I want to know what's up. Yeah, I just hate the whole silent treatment thing. All right, so did you want? This is already a 2-hour, 10-minute long podcast. I'm okay with it. The John Byrne rule. You want to talk about the John Byrne rule? My John Byrne rule.
I don't think it exists, but I want to. I mean, 2 hours. We're deep into it. How about we just promise that we begin next week's with the John Byrne, then we can pace out the news.
So you want to deflate the John Byrne rule? Okay, done.
Look forward to that, everybody. Apologize, I promised it early, but I didn't think we'd go this long.
Yeah, we went really long today, so oof.
Thank Bryan Singer for that.
Son of a gun. Anyway, he deserves to be called out if he did these bad things, though. So we out. It's been good talking to you guys, and stay tuned. Remember, every Sunday morning is when you get all the latest Comic Book University and Chillmonger comic book news, as opposed to, hey, we just found something out. Let's talk for a half an hour about this stuff, like about this one thing. What are you doing? Or let's tweet about this and blah, 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 blah.
And thanks for the super chat.
Actually do stuff. Oh, super chats would be nice. There you go. Either way. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Professor Bill and Chillmonger, Comic Book University.
Class dismissed.